Estimation for Agile development. Now, Agile, everything is very fast. The time is less, and you have to just roll it and give it the product, multiple increment, multiple times. So because the requirements of this Agile project are defined by user scenarios, you can call it as user stories in some of the Agile. Normally we don't make the SRS like we do in the waterfall or spiral, etc. So you have to actually go for user stories, user scenario. So in extreme programming we call it as user stories. In Scrum we call backlog, etc. So this is the extreme programming stories. You just assume it to be user scenarios. And this, because the requirement is so fast, so we can develop an estimation approach which has to be informal. Agile is a kind of informal approach only, reasonably disciplined and meaningful, and finally, with the context of the project planning, for each software increment, we can do this informal, reasonable, disciplined, and meaningful way of estimation approach. Now, how do we do this? First, let me tell you, there are multiple different Agile estimation techniques, and they have been developed: planning poker, t-shirt sizes, dot voting, the bucket system, large and uncertain small, affinity mapping, ordering method. There are different methods. So Agile project estimation uses decomposition approach. First of all, each user scenario or user stories is considered separately for estimation purposes. Now this scenario is then decomposed into software engineering task. The scenario will be divided into what kind of software engineering task we are going to apply here. Each task has to be estimated separately. That is, estimation can be done based on the historical data. You can also use the empirical model. We have already seen the different kind of empirical software equation, COCOMO, etc. Or experience also. Okay. Now, once this is done, you can also choose an alternative. Volume of the scenario. Now, this is quite, we have seen in earlier discussions, estimated in terms of LOC and FP, function point sizing parameters. You can use that also. Or the volume oriented measures like the use case count. This also can be used. Now, the estimates for each task, we have done already that thing. They are added, they are summed to create an estimate for the scenario. Or if you are using volume estimate for the scenario is translated into effort using the historical data. The effort estimate for all the scenarios are added in order to get the final effort estimate for the increment. So this is how estimation for Agile development is done. Because the project duration is around 3 to 6 weeks, this approach serves two purposes. To be very certain that the number of scenarios to be included in the increment, that is next increment, conforms to the available resources. Along this, to establish a basis for allocating the effort as the increment is developed. Okay, so this is how we do the estimation of Agile development. There are multiple methods.